I'm gonna start again, aren't I? Hi everyone, my name is Anne. I go by YarnyAnnie on YouTube and Instagram, and on this channel and on my Instagram we talk about knitting and yarn and fibre. I do sometimes do crochet, but mainly knitting. And today we're gonna do a little knit and chat. I had a few, well, put it out like, oh, ask me a question. A few of you asked me a bunch of stuff, so we're going to chat about this while I work on a all over stockinette. Well, no, it won't be all over stockinette, but the next few rounds are going to be stockinette. So it's a very appropriate knitting project. There's a few admin I need to do. Is I got a little mic, so I really hope that the sound is a lot better. A few of you mentioned that you could not really hear me, and I obviously noticed when editing, like the sound was a bit low, so hopefully that should have sorted it. I'm going to try not to touch my breast area to not create any like crinkling sound, but if I do apologize. I'm not used to being mic'd up. So today I'm going to work on my wakame sweater by Wolfsmith knitwear, which is a sweater I'm testing for. I'll show you what it looks like. It's absolutely incredible, and I'm so happy to be knitting this guy up. It went pretty fast so far. I'm a little bit behind on my schedule. It is a lot of knitting. It's a olive cable sweater, but there's no pearl stitches, so it's a very dense fabric. And I'm knitting this with Cascade finger weight. It's the 220 Peruvian Highland wool by Cascade, yeah, and dropped kit silk. And the colors, the blue from Cascade is Celestial Teal, and the blue is Petrol. And it works out really nice. It's pretty soft. I'm getting towards the point. It doesn't look like much, but when I do put it on, it's past my belly button because I'm quite short. So basically, what I need to do now is finish the row I'm on, do another row of just stockinette, and then I'm on to the ribbing, which is going to be a very long ribbing. It's 12 to 14 centimeter of ribbing, so we'll just chat while I slowly get through it. I love the look of ribbing, and I don't actually mind knitting ribbing. So I'm a continental knitter, so that's usually slightly easier. Anyway, I think, yeah, I'm going to start knitting and reply some of your lovely questions. Yay! Cool. Let me grab my yarn. I've just changed skein, so... Oh, and my mohair looks very, very tangled. Oh, and I'm wearing my Me Almighty by Park Williams, or Park and Knits on Instagram. And this is the first version I made with a soft grain yarn. I would say I would not recommend the soft grain yarn for maybe garment. I do find that it has stretch slightly oddly, and I made two versions of this t-shirt. One with the cedar cotton DK wool, and this version has held up a lot nicer. So I'm mainly seeing the flaws of this yarn because I happen to have knitted with a different yarn that was slightly more expensive, but has held up a lot more, and I think it just has felted a little bit. And I wear it a lot less, but that's my second version. So some feedback for you guys. There you go. So for those of you that do not know me, joined this channel not long ago, I've started to get a lot more views and a lot more followers, so I'm guessing not all of you know me. So I'm Anne. I'm a French knitter, but I'm based in the UK. I live in Sheffield, which is in the north of the country. Some of you that have seen my video must be so tired of me talking about myself. But anyway, I knit, and I've been knitting for about, I want to say 2 years. It's a blurry timeline. I've learned how to knit a long time ago. My grandma taught me how to knit, and my mom's a knitter, so I've always been around knitting. And during lockdown, I got really intensely into crocheting, and from there, I've just started knitting. which I've thoroughly enjoyed. It doesn't hurt my wrist as much as crocheting, so I've just slightly preferred knitting. Anyway, let's get on to questions. So, Juliette on YouTube asked me if I was more a monogamous knitter or a multiple whip gal. And I think I do have at least 3 whips on at all time, and I do change around them a lot. But if I'm in love with a project, it's just there's that one, and I'm just gonna finish it in one go. So it really depends. I think I've learned through knitting and my few years of experience that there's project for occasions. And so I would always prefer to have kind of a mindless knitting to have on the go. So usually for me that would be socks, and then more intense knitting when I'm at home. So at the minute my 3 main whip are this one, the Drift Jacket by Rose Knitwear, which I made tons of progress on because it's 8mm needles yarn project jacket, so it goes really fast. Done the back, I've done the one of the panel, and I'm on the second one, so I just need to finish that one, do the sleeve, do the color, and I'm done. I feel like you can do a panel, a small panel in a day and a half. It goes really fast. This one is slightly more intense. And then I got some socks on the needle at the minute, which I've started not long ago. So yeah, I think this is what I'm slowly learning about myself is I like to have different projects on the needles, but I do not mind working specifically on one if I really enjoy it. But yeah, I think this summer I've tried to be very monogamous and cast on one at a time, but I just don't think it's very viable considering how much I travel with my knitting. But yeah, nothing wrong with either or. There's pros and cons. I think with monogamous knitters, you get stuff done so fast, whereas obviously if you split your time between projects, then it might take a bit longer. But I do not mind. I recently finished a beanie, and I was so obsessed with that pattern that I just knitted on that for 2 days and then it was done. I was like, wow, what a life. What a life that must be for you guys to just finish project a day after knitting them. I'll take a bit more time, but yeah. Anyway, that's that. Thank you, Juliette, I'm not sure, for your question. So my friend Anastasia, who's kind enough to send me questions, she's into knitting as well, asked me, how do I choose my yarn? So I think this is where being a quite young knitter is going to come into play. I am learning what I like to knit with. So I still have so much to explore, especially when it comes to variety. I do not have an opinion on if I like superwash or if I do not like superwash yet. I do not. And I feel kind of like a fraud to just not know about those things. But it's just a process of learning and figure out what I like. So how do I choose yarn? I just kind of browse the internet and match yarn to my budget. And I think every now and then I do splurge. But most of the time, I'm not going to buy the cheapest. I've not been knitting with acrylic lately. I much rather work with natural fibers. I think it's just a nicer knitting experience. But depending on the project, if it calls for acrylic, I wouldn't mind. But yeah, this is how I choose is obviously looking at, I never buy yarn without a pattern, and the exception would be socks. Because sock yarn, I mean, it's usually most sock patterns would be fingering weight anyway, or light fingering. I've never knitted a DK sock pattern, to be fair. I do want to try it one day, maybe for Christmas. But yeah, so how do I choose yarn? Vibes. No, colors is a big thing for me. I think you can see in my knitting I do introduce a lot of color. I've so far not knitted for myself a plain jumper like grey, beige, or whatever. I've not done it. I am currently working on a beige, like limestone color jacket, which is fine. I wanted it that color. Now that I think of it, why did I not knitted it in a different color? I think the inspo picture really drew me in. So yeah, I think color. If there's a nice color range, I usually tend to go for those. And yeah, I usually have some kind of an idea of what color I want to knit things in. That's going to come into play. But yeah, I guess we'll figure it out. I think I was like, oh, but I don't know the answers to most of those questions. But I think it's good for me to have this as, you know, when I first start my channel. And then in 10 years, when I'll be like a super experienced knitter, I'll redo the same questions and see how my opinion has formed and my knowledge, you know, increased and all of that. You know, I'll have a sip of that. But yeah, so thank you. And she also asked, where do I find inspiration for what I do? And I do not, I do not design. So I think she meant like, oh, what do I choose? How do I choose patterns? And there's mainly YouTube, mainly Instagram, because there's so many beautiful, beautiful stuff out there. And what I want in my wardrobe. Lately, I've been incredibly inspired by shows that I watch. So I watch Gilmore Girls, and the just knitwear in that show is really, really nice. So that always draws inspiration as well. Ravelry, I find it slightly harder to. I think I like the fact that Instagram has some kind of a algorithm that, you know, give me what I've been liking. So it knows me, it knows what I like, and it recommends what I like. So there's designers I kind of follow and keep an eye out because I think we have like similar style, and that helps as well. At the minute, it's been 2 days, but I can't stop thinking about it. There's 2 patterns that I've seen, and I'm like, I need this. I absolutely need this. I've seen this really cool pattern. It's not, the idea is close to what I'd like to make. I'm not sure I'm going to choose this one. So this is why I'm putting it on YouTube. If you have recommendation of a very basic knit, but with a split hem, basically going all the way up to your rib. It was really, really, I've seen that picture. I was like, I want this so bad. Is it practical? Nah, but it looks amazing, and I think I would wear it anyway because I wear high-waisted pants, so I think I would still wear it. So yeah, this is something that I've seen from Instagram that I really want to make, and I will probably make it soon in like a nice green, maybe. And I've also looked, I've seen it's Laura Penrose from Penrose Knit that reposted it, and it's a really beautiful all over ribbed t-shirt with a high neck, which I wear a turtleneck a lot. This is kind of part of like my work uniform. I just wear those a lot, especially during that season, and I'd love to knit one. I think it will be interesting for the colder season to knit something that is not a sweater. I think I might enjoy that, to have a project that is slightly faster to knit as well. Because sometimes, you know, project can drag, and I don't want to make it not enjoyable for myself. But yeah, I think this is basically what I would say. Instagram is a big source of inspiration, movies and films. And because I'm quite new to knitting, I don't have like a wardrobe full of homemade knitwear. So there's so much gap that I still need to fill. And I'm just using my knitting to fill those gaps, which I think is so cool. I am kind of dreading the day where I have all of the sweaters I will ever need, and I will have to like knit for other people, and so I won't get that feeling of wearing what I've done for myself. So I'm gonna try to like space out what I do for myself and what I do for others, so I could eventually not get to that point. But yeah, there you go. And then my friend Gabriella asked what would be my best beginner project recommendation. And I guess it depends on what you want to do. If it's a very, very first project you want to do, I would go for a beanie, or probably not a scarf, because scarf take forever to make. Absolutely forever to make, and it's just kind of discouraging. But it's a good way to learn some stitches. But I would go for a beanie. There's some really simple ones, or you could just do a square and you scrunch up at the very top, and that would be good to start with. If you're feeling a little bit more adventurous and you've learned a little bit, you've done a few beanies, or you've done a scarf, or you just feel or supported, or you don't mind like YouTubing every single stitch. I've made a jumper from bulky weight yarn. Actually, I'll show you. It's just behind me because I was going to wear it today, but it's actually too warm. And I can still talk, and you can still hear me. Anyway, it's upside down, so I'm just flipping it. I forgot the name of this pattern, but I think it's the Saturn one. I'll make sure to tag it. And it's this pattern made using 3 strands of yarn at once. And you can drop one strain at a time to add another one. So it creates that slightly gradient effect. And I made that, and it's basically 4 rectangles, and that's a drop stitch, is it? And that is just rib. So I would say this really took maybe 3 days to make, because I had COVID when I made it, so I was stuck at home. This took barely any time, and it looks amazing just from the yarn. I do not wear it that much, to be honest, because it's a great beginner project, but now that I've learned more technique and I enjoy, like German short row to raise the neck, I do not wear it as much. But a basic sweater like that, and I think the sleeves are too big for me, the good basic sweater like that, it's never going to go out of fashion. It's an easy thing to do. It works up super, super fast. It's a great place to start. And the pattern was really, really clear and well written. So I would recommend this pattern if you feel like doing a jumper. Yeah, and it's super cool. I really thoroughly enjoy it. I used leftover acrylics from my former crochet days. It's just peeling so bad. This one was alpaca wool blend, so the acrylics like held up quite nicely. It's just that I sometimes use different fibers, so that when I do put it in the wash, it's not really enjoying. Some of them are not really enjoying. There's even some cotton down there. It's a good pattern to start with if you wanted to do something a bit more exciting than just a beanie. But a beanie is great. What else have I done? I remember I was so bored when I first started knitting, and I just made free-handed some jumpers. But it's a good way to start. It's a good way to start. I think the best project is the one that you actually want to wear, and that you will finish because you will enjoy the finished project. But there is obviously sites that you can go to, like Ravelry, where there's difficulty levels. But yeah, but Gabs, I'll send you some over if you'd like. And another question that Anastasia asked is, how do you knit with stiffer wool? She mentioned that she's working with recycled jeans for a project. I've never worked with that type of yarn or fiber, but I would say if it's really, really stiff, there's two ways to help you, is to change, to make sure you're knitting with metal needles, because that usually slides a little bit better, and go up a needle size or go down a needle size. Just check a little bit. I would probably go up. Yeah, I'm not a pro yet. I'll probably go up a needle size to make sure there's a nicer drape to it. And sometimes it's stiffer when you first knit it up, but as soon as you wash it or block it, it will soften up. So I would recommend that. But I've never knitted with denim, so I'm not sure. But I hope that helps. That little bit of advice. I'm wondering what you're doing. Send me a picture, Anna. Someone, Wolfsmith Knitwear, asked me what are my knitting plans for the next few months, and I'm obviously trying to finish the Wakame sweater, which I 100% will. I still have the drift jacket. I made a beanie, so I wanted to do some mittens, so some small accessories for winter. I'm going to do a few Sophie scarf. I have some leftover wool that I would like to use up, because I made some for my family, but I've not made one for myself, so I want to do some of that. And I want either to knit up the Monica Geller, was it Monica Geller or Rachel? No. Yeah, Monica Geller top by Sari Norwood. Oh, I forgot her name, I'm so sorry. She's a very famous designer, and she does really beautiful things, and she came up with this beautiful pattern of a high neck t-shirt, and I think it's a raglan. So that one, other one that Laura Penrose reposted, that has since been engraved in my mind because it's so amazing. So those two would be an interesting thing. I really want to explore fibers and maybe work up. I've never done a t-shirt with like a single strand of finger eight merino, so maybe something like that. I think that could be quite nice. I am gonna go yarn shopping at some point this month, I think, or next month. So that should be something to consider. And a very simple design with a beautiful yarn is something that I usually, I like texture, so I will put texture in first, or stripes, or I'd like to work with very pure, noble fiber and to put that on the forefront with a simpler design. I think that could be interesting. Could that be the one with a massive split hem? Maybe. I think that could be cool. So yeah, that would be really nice. I also need to think about gift knitting. I hope my partner is not going to watch this video, but he's overdue some socks, and I ripped back the sock I started to make for him. It was the Herding Cat sock pattern by Stone Knit, which is a great pattern, but it was my first colorwork sock, and it was just too small. It would barely fit over my feet, and he has slightly larger feet, so he's overdue some socks, so I'll get some of that done as well. I think I've done an autumn video knitting plan, but I also truly believe in going with the flow and what seems appropriate at that time. So yeah, I obviously did not speak about the split hem project that I've been eyeing up because I've recently seen it. But I think it would be a nice in-between season kind of knitwear, so it'll be too late for this year, but I'll still wear it. I have big coats. And another thing I really want to do is another pattern by Raw Knitwear. I forgot the name, but it's this very sheer mohair little jumper. That would be a layering piece. I've been eyeing this up, and I've seen like some people wearing commercial style of that pattern, so it'll be really cool to have all of those homemade. So yeah, I think these are my knitting plans. And she also asked what's my favourite yarn brand. I think I slightly tapped into that earlier, but I do not know. And I find it extremely exciting not to know yet. I've really enjoyed working with Cascade. I've worked with Cascade 220, the DK way, already, and I've really enjoyed working with that one. I'm enjoying this one, the Fingering Highland wool one. I've recently worked with Isager Highland wool as well. That was quite enjoyable. The cotton from Sidar, I really enjoy working with that. And when it comes to sock wool, I've enjoyed, once again, Cascade. I think we might have a winner. But Cascade, the sock wool one, Heritage, I think it's called. Really enjoy that one. Very, very soft, very, very polished yarn. And when it comes to socks, I've been really into hand dyed, and I've been splurging into some hand dyed. So there's a few dyer that I've been enjoying, but all of that being said, I've only worked up with one of their schemes, but after that I just followed them on Instagram, and I really like their vision and what they produce. So the ones that I really enjoyed is the West Loft Studio, and I worked a beautiful pair of socks with that one, and I've really enjoyed Fruitful Fusion, who's another dyer, all of them being UK based, so some locals. Yeah, I think that's basically what I'm trying to think of what I've worked with, but these are the one that speaks to me right now. It's really good. I've worked a lot with Drops. I've enjoyed Drops Flora. This one I did enjoy. I don't remember if I enjoyed Drop Lima, but if I don't recall having some kind of a feeling, I'm guessing it was like that. Not a bad impression, that wool. I'm currently working with Andes by Drops. It's not that I don't like it, it's just not. It's slightly grippy. I feel like it might felt a little bit, but we'll see once I block it. And the textures of my knitting, I think it's because it's such big stitches. I'll show you. So it's like a big gauge that the definition of my stitches is like a bit wonky, and I think it will eventually like block out, finger crossed. But yeah, it doesn't feel like it's my best work, but maybe it's just that it's such a big gauge, whereas this one being on smaller needles, it just looks a little bit more profesh. But yeah, so that, my mom said hi, so bonjour maman. She sometimes does watch my video, but she doesn't really speak English, so I don't know if she will. That's all the question I had. I went through them quite fast, but I should actually check how long I've been talking to. Sometimes I took 4 hours and I don't realize. So yeah, it's been half an hour and I have work, so I will finish. Funny how I literally just did half a row on this knit and chat. Not a great not a great knit and chat. No knitting was done. It's fine. What else did I wanted to say? I think that's basically it. Thank you so much for everyone that asked me little questions. Some friends, some people I've worked with, and it was just, and some people that I did not know at all. So I really appreciate you taking the time. I want to thank everyone that's been commenting on my videos lately. So sweet. I am actually baffled by the sweetness of some people, and I'm super happy to be part of this knitting community here on YouTube and Instagram, and I guess in real life as well. Some of you are telling me where they're from, and that's really cool. I got some people from New Zealand, Australia, someone from Birmingham, which I'm planning on visiting. So I'm gonna slide into someone's DM and be like, where do you shop for yarn? But yeah, I hope you have a lovely weekend. I should be able to edit that tomorrow and put it up tomorrow. Tonight I do have to work, so I'm super excited to. I've just been like crazy about knitting lately, and all I can think about, like when I'm at work, I was like, oh, I could be home knitting right now, but I can't because I'm at work. But I would love to be home and knitting right now. Even like social occasion, I'm like, should I brought my knitting? It's a bit extreme, but there you go. Next video is going to be just a classic podcast, so I hope you'll join me on that because we're going to talk about some super cute little project. Hopefully I'll be finished with either the drift jacket or this jumper, but maybe I won't, and it's fine if I'm not. I have 2 finished objects since the last time I spoke to you, so yeah, one of them I'm super happy to be presenting, so that's super exciting. I wish you all a happy autumn, a lovely day, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.